the monsters that are at our door. Today we are canceling the apocalypse.
Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. Today I'm going to discuss my thoughts and opinions upon the film titled Pacific Rim. This film was directed by a man by the name of Guillermo del Toro, previously known for directing films such as Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy 1, and also Hellboy 2. Pacific Rim stars actors and actresses such as Charlie Hunnam, Idris Elba, Charlie Day, and Ron Perlman. Now the plot of Pacific Rim, the film, is very simple. We have robots in the film that are called Jaegers. We have monsters in the film that are called Kaiju, and these monsters come up from the depths of underwater, and we, as a community, build these robots to fight off these monsters, and that's pretty much the plot. Monsters versus robots. It takes place, I believe, sometime in the near future where we already have this technology where we can create these robots, and it doesn't start off, where we actually, like us creating the robots. In this near future, we have this technology, and we've had the technology to create these robots for many years, and we have already been fighting these monsters for many years, and that's pretty much the plot. Monsters versus robots, and we pretty much have to fight to save humanity's life and overall all of the world's entire life. That's pretty much the basic plot of the film directed by Del Toro by the name of Pacific Rim. Overall, my thoughts and opinions on Pacific Rim: this was an amazing and fantastic, a phenomenal film that I really enjoyed. Let's talk about some of the reasons why I enjoyed it so much. The action in this film is just downright, for lack of a better word, phenomenal, is the least I can say. The action is downright jaw-dropping. You don't have to wait an hour, even 45 minutes for the action to start. The action between the robots and the monsters, that's the main attraction for seeing this film. The action between these two big characters, the Kaiju and the Jaeger, the action between them starts 15, 20 minutes in. 15, 20 minutes in, you have these amazing, fantastic, fight and action sequences between the Jaegers and the Kaiju, the robots and the monsters. And the action sequences, shall I say, are jaw-dropping. 15, 20 minutes into this film, my mouth was already, my jaw was already, dropping. And for most of this film, my mouth was wide open. There were so many oh my god moments during this film that it was just undeniably, the action scenes in this film are just downright breathtaking. The design of the creatures, of the monsters, the actual, Kaiju themselves, the design of the Japanese Kaiju monsters are downright incredible. I don't want to get too spoilerish, but I will get to just a tad minor spoilerish. You got creatures with wings, you got creatures with horns on them. The look and the design of the creatures themselves are just breathtaking, to say the least, and they're just fun to look at. And the action scenes, like I said earlier, are just downright incredible. Now, the actual Jaeger robots, the design of them is also pretty cool, but the main reason is for the actual monsters. The design of them are really cool. Now, the robots are pretty much, I guess you could say Transformers-esque. The design of the robots are also really cool to look at, really metallic looking, really shiny. I believe there are actually 4 pilots in you have Charlie Hunnam's character, and then you have 3 other, then you have like this Japanese girl that's also her, also his co-pilot with him, because there have to be 2 pilots to actually pilot the machine, one for the left-hand side of the brain, one for the right-hand side of the brain, and then there's 3 other pilots that aren't, they're kind of like supporting characters. But overall, favorite things about this film is definitely the action sequences and the overall design of the creatures themselves. Performance-wise, there are some decent performances in this movie. I really think that Idris Elba playing the role of Stacker Pentecost, he plays kind of the leader of the robot corporation, the ones that are building the robots in order to take out the creatures. I think Idris Elba, previously known for being in films such as Thor, and then soon Thor: The Dark World, I believe. I'm pretty sure he's in the movie too. Anyways, I think Idris Elba really stole the show with some of his one-liners, some of his quotes. He plays his role, he has such a nice presence to his role. He has some really nice, memorable quotes and memorable dialogue that I really enjoyed Idris Elba's character. Charlie Hunnam plays Riley Beckett, our main character. He was decent. He wasn't amazing, but he was a pretty decent character. But surprisingly, Charlie Day, known for being in the TV show, the television show on FX by the name of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Charlie Day was actually amazing in this one. He played kind of like this quirky scientist character that wanted to hack into the brain of the actual creatures, and he wanted to kind of like merge with them, learn about them, because he believed if you, and no one else believed them, but his character, Charlie Day's character, believed if you could hack into the creatures' brains, you could find out, their alliances and what the creatures are actually trying to do. Charlie Day had an amazing performance in this, and I really enjoyed his character. Surprisingly, he was really cool. Ron Perlman, he always uses Ron Perlman in his films. He has kind of a small cameo. He's in there for maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes at the most, playing the character of Hannibal Chow, and he's kind of there for, I guess you could say, comical relief. The role he plays is pretty decent, though not a huge character. Definitely not as big as Charlie Hunnam or Idris Elba, or even Charlie Day's character in the Del Toro film by the name of Pacific Rim. So performance-wise, you won't find anything downright spectacular, but you will have some really cool one-liners, such as, from Idris Elba, and then I think Charlie Day really gives, a solid performance in the film titled Pacific Rim. So we have some solid performances, we have some great action sequences, we have, those two things combined. Another thing that Pacific Rim gives us is just a really cool concept. The concept of the actual one person controlling the right-hand side of the brain and the person controlling the left-hand side of the brain. I really like that concept, two people controlling one robot, and you can kind of see into the minds of each other, and if you get too entrapped in the other person's consciousness, then it can really affect you, and it can affect the way you actually will control the robot. So I really thought that was just an interesting and unique concept. The whole concept of these robots fighting these, creatures was just a really cool concept, and I love the way how two pilot, they're each co-pilots, and they each make one, unison and harmony pilot, and that was just a really cool concept and premise of having these two people take on these, think Power Rangers pretty much. Think a really, not a lot of low budget, but a really, big budget, high adaptation, big screen premiere of a Power Rangers movie. That's pretty much what Pacific Rim is. Power Rangers at its best with really great action sequences, some really solid performances, and overall a really cool premise. Major spoilers coming up. I really enjoyed the ending of the film where you actually get to see, you don't get to see a ton of it, but you get to see a brief little segment of what the other side of the universe looks like, where the actual monsters come from, under the depths of the water. And I think the fight sequences are great. You see robots being thrown through buildings, creatures throwing them around, crashing them around. You have fighting in mid-air where one of them pulls out a sword. You got fighting underwater. So there are so many unique fighting adaptations that overall I really enjoyed this film. As I understand, there is a sequel in talks, though I don't think anything has actually been greenlit or actually been announced, but there is a sequel in the works. I'll put a link to that article in the description below. That way you guys can see that, but most likely there will be a sequel to this film. The film had about $190 million budget, and to this day, it's made about a little more than $224 million. So it's already made its money back and a little more also. So I'm pretty sure, without a doubt, that it'll have a sequel. Hopefully it will. Hopefully it won't just be, forgotten about. Because according to Del Toro, I'll put a link in the description below to the article. He already has some plans about what the sequel could be. The co-writer for the sequel so far is going to be Travis Beacham, who is the co-writer for Pacific Rim, and then Del Toro hasn't commented on whether or not he will direct the second film. That's my thoughts and opinions on the film by the name of Pacific Rim. Once again, thanks for watching another video by Centipede Geek. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to that page below, and I'll see you guys later with more videos by Centipede Geek.